He was a fighter pilot off of aircraft carriers. He was sent to Vietnam to join the Kitty Hawk, which was already in the Asia seas. He went January of 1967. My father got the phone call telling him that Ev had been shot down. He was listed as MIA for a few years, actually. Assumed captured, but not known for sure. We had only been married for 10 months when he shipped out to Vietnam. So I didn't have that experience of the long cruise separation. As it turned out, that cruise, which would have been 9 months, turned into 6 years because he was held captive for 6 years. In the very early days of the time in San Diego, it was very depressing, and I was worried because there were so many young women that had no experience in the military at all, so they had no thick skin to deal with any of the emotional baggage that they were going to handle. Well, there was rumors starting in January of '73. I guess when I first found out for sure was probably late February to early March. The rumors got stronger and stronger, and eventually it said they're going to come out group by group by group. And Ev was on the third plane that came out that landed in Northern California, Edwards. They came out plane by plane by plane. When having been married for only 10 months before he left, and 6 years have transpired, we're both different people for obviously different reasons, but we're very different people. And I just had no idea what to expect. Initially, I thought I did. I hoped I did. But as time evolved, I realized I do not know this person. The one thing that probably disturbed him, not disturbed, but stressed him out a bit, and I think it applied across the board to every man that was married, was that their wives were vastly different because they had to assume control of the family, they had to make the decisions, pay the bills, earn a living, they did everything. And when the husbands came home, they assumed they were going to reverse back to the old roles that they had been in, and that didn't work for a single woman, not a single woman. The divorce rate skyrocketed in the first year. 14 years we were married, and then I had to leave. I think it was after about 2 or 3 years they had their first reunion. Most all of them came, and they came with their new wives. Very few came with their original wives. And they started talking in a melancholy way about their time in prison. I was mystified and somewhat stunned at what they were saying. And so I interrupted and said, "Am I hearing this correctly? It sounds as if you all would go back." And every one of them nodded their head, said, "Yes, we would if we could go back without torture." One of the guys said, "Probably because we established the closest relationships amongst ourselves that we've ever known in our lives, far closer than our spouses, our children, our siblings, or our parents. And we miss the camaraderie that we had and shared." I feel very strongly that had that support system been in place at the onset when the men came back, that the divorce rate would not have skyrocketed to 90+%. Having those resources available and using them, seeking them out, because there are too many young people in the military that don't have knowledge of survival. So to rely on those resources and find groups that bring commonality together so that you can share and learn from things that they might have found out, I think all of that is extremely important.